a petition has been signed to close the UK borders for 5 years. This petition is against both legal migration and illegal migration, and it has 218,000 signatures on it. Seriously, you need to know what is happening in the UK. You need to be aware of the things that are happening. You might say, it's none of my business. I'm not interested in politics, but you would not know that what decision they make in Parliament will affect you. You might decide, I don't want to vote, but the decisions they make over there will surely affect you. In this video, I'm going to share with you the things that they have said on that particular petition. The government has responded, because once you sign a petition and it's above 10,000 signatures, then the government will respond. Then they will have a hearing if it's above 100,000 signatures. Now, I noticed that there are maybe a new set of audience in my YouTube studio. I'm talking about people in the US. They have overtaken some countries as one of the top 5 people on my studio. I noticed that because of this new problem that the people in the US are experiencing, I'm talking about ICE deporting people being scared about their immigration status. Maybe that's the reason why I have this new audience in the US. Maybe you are considering to move to the UK. It's so important for you to know how the immigration climate is here. You might think, oh, it's so noisy in America and nothing is happening in the UK. You don't know that there are a lot of things happening here. This place might be calm. The media might not be so loud about things that they do, but a lot of things are happening here. This place is where I call like the silent gangster. I don't know how to explain it. Silent Odogu, as in they do what they want to do. Nobody knows what is happening. Sometimes you have to intentionally search for this news before you find it. Now, if you want to come into the UK as a student, or maybe under the skilled worker visa, or perhaps you are already in the UK, you need to watch this video till the end. Hello everybody, my name is Cynthia. I share information that will help your transition into the UK to be as smooth as possible. I share information about settling, working, or studying in the UK. If you're interested in any of these, then subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell so that each time I drop a new video, you'll be amongst the first people to see that video. If you're interested in career progression, or you need help getting a visa sponsorship job, then you need to check out my store. I have sample CVs, sample supporting information, cover letters, and other documents that will help you get a job. Now, if you want maybe tailored advice, one-on-one guide, maybe you want a one-on-one session with me, then we can sit down and discuss how we can help you nail that interview, get that visa sponsorship job, so that you can achieve your dream in the UK. And without wasting time, let's get into this video. Now, the first thing is about this petition. Like I explained to you, the government has responded. They've listed the things they've been able to do to reduce net migration. They listed the fact that care workers cannot bring their dependents, students cannot bring their dependents. They've also listed the fact that they've increased the minimum salary threshold for skilled worker visa to 38,700. So it will further reduce the number of people coming into the UK. They also mentioned that they increased the amount that people who want to bring in their spouses and their dependents should have. Remember, the income is now 29,000. So they believe that all these restrictions they've included will reduce net migration, and they feel it's sufficient to move forward. But there's a particular statement that they made that I feel everybody should listen to. They said, we are determined to increase momentum in all the areas set out above to deliver our twin goals to reduce both net migration and illegal migration. However, we believe it will be harmful to the UK economy to go further in the way suggested by the petitioners through suspending all legal migration into the UK. We continue to welcome business investment and talent from around the world, and we value the contribution that controlled migration plays in supporting many sectors of our economy, including our essential public services. You know that the NHS has a lot of people from outside the UK. Most people don't want to do some of the jobs in the healthcare sector. I'm talking about from doctors to nurses and carers. Most of the people that care for people in this country are migrants. But the most important thing I feel you should listen to is that place that they said it will be harmful to the UK economy to go further. Seriously, you need to understand the value that migration has on the UK economy. We talk about migration a lot, but nobody mentions the fact that a lot of money is made from visa refusal. Apart from the visa fees, I'm talking about IHS fees. IHS fees is the immigration health surcharge. This immigration health surcharge used to be £624, but is now £1,035 a year. So if you're staying for 5 years, it's times 5. If you have a family of 4, the kids would have to pay £776 a year. Now, this is something that people pay, and sometimes they don't even use the healthcare sector during that period, because most people that are coming in through the skilled worker visa option are maybe, let's just say, they're healthy, they don't use the NHS that much, so people have to understand that they generated 1.7 billion. In fact, listen to this lady.
There's a report that showed that a Home Office has a profit margin of 800% when it comes to visa applications. I had never heard any business that has 800% profit. The Home Office earned approximately £1.3 billion from the healthcare surcharge that immigrants paid, that visa holders paid. 1.3 billion. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Home Office is probably one of the few or the only government department that is profitable.
Did the research, and all these things are available online. 1.7 billion was made from IHS fees. That's a lot of money. And a portion of it goes to the NHS. Now, imagine freezing immigration for 5 years. What is going to happen? Also remember that last year, when Richie Sunak increased the IHS fees from £624 to £1,035, he gave a reason why he did that.
That money has to come from somewhere else, because I'm not prepared to put up people's taxes, and I don't think it would be responsible or right to borrow more, because that would just make inflation worse. So what we have done are 2 things to find this money. The first is we're going to increase the charges that we have for migrants who are coming to this country when they apply for visas, and indeed something called the Immigration Health Surcharge, which is the levy that they pay to access the NHS. So all of those fees are going to go up, and that will raise over £1 billion. So across the board, visa application fees are going to go up significantly.
So you can see that IHS fees was increased to raise the salaries of doctors, teachers, carers, and people in the police. Another thing you need to notice is that even though the US seems more active when it comes to massive deportations, the UK has been carrying a lot of deportation. Now, the US might be a bit, public, with many newspaper channels carrying it. There's this particular paper I read that it says that ICE arrests like 1,200 to 1,500 people, and a lot of people are being deported every day. Now, the UK is very active when it comes to mass deportation. In fact, in 2024, 34,000 people illegally entered the UK using these boats and these containers and cars and different things. Now, guess how many people have been deported from the UK since this particular government came into power? It's been 19,000. So this particular government, they are very, very active when it comes to mass deportation. In fact, they've been quiet about it for a while, but when the US published their own and people were like, okay, UK is very calm and all that, the UK released their own footage. I will show you some of the footages of some of the people they've deported. Some of them were restrained, and they had up to 5 people escorting them to the airplane so that they will be deported back to their countries. So it tells you that, see, even though UK is very quiet, like I said, it's like the silent gangster, they are actively and massively deporting people, much more than people think. Another thing is that recently they just introduced this law that illegal migrants cannot obtain citizenship. That was introduced on the 10th of February 2025. So if someone comes into this country illegally, they will be denied citizenship, even when they've spent 10 years, 15 years. Recently, there was another increase in visa fees. I'm talking about COS, Certificate of Sponsorship, and that was put in place to dissuade employers from employing somebody from abroad. Now it's becoming more and more difficult to get a certificate of sponsorship. Why I'm sharing all this with you is that if you decide to come into the country and you're coming in through study routes, just prepare yourself that there might not be enough jobs around, or employers are now more reluctant to employ foreign workers. So this is some of the things that they have put in place to prevent people from staying back in the country, and they've put all these things in place to raise fund for the UK economy. They've also put all these things in place to dissuade people from coming in. So you have to be aware of all these things before you go and choose a particular course that you don't know what you're going to use it for. If you decide you want to send your child or you want to come into the UK to study, you have to be careful the courses you study, because some courses will not get you a job or a certificate of sponsorship. If you want to fill any skills gap in the UK, you have to be careful of the particular ones you would choose. Now, I'm going to share the statement of changes in immigration rules. There are particular occupations that you can fill in, that you can get certificate of sponsorship on or skilled worker visa on. See, it's tables 1 and tables 2. Just search in this document, you see the list, and there is a minimum salary threshold that you have to meet. But you see that table 6, do not touch anything there. You will not get visa sponsorship once you graduate. Leave those kitchen assistant, cleaner jobs and all those things. Leave them. They are protected occupations. They are for people who are British or have ILR or dependents of people who are coming in. Obviously, students are not allowed to bring dependents. Only people who are coming in to study a PhD, or perhaps you are pursuing a master's in research or of research, then you can bring your dependents. It's only dependents that are allowed to do those particular jobs. Some people call it menial jobs, but you cannot be sponsored into the UK to do any menial job. And if you're calling care work a menial job, just note that it's one job that they don't pay so well, but those people put in a lot of effort to care for the elderly and the people who are vulnerable in this country. The reason why people are not on the streets and abandoned on the streets is because there are carers who actually do their jobs. Another thing is that you must have seen so many graduation pictures online, and you will notice that a lot of people who are graduating in that particular set are international students. I'm talking about postgraduate studies. So from master's to your PhD, you see a lot of international students. You should know that international students contribute a lot to university revenue. In fact, since they stopped international students from bringing their dependents into the UK, there was this drop in university revenue. Some staff have been sacked, some departments have been closed, a lot of things have happened. It continues to negatively impact universities. And remember that when the finances of these universities are affected, guess what actually happens? It affects every other aspect of that particular university, So it means that they might not be number one like they used to. You need money to fund state-of-the-art facilities, to carry out research, to carry out meaningful developments in the university. So when these things happen and universities are crying out and the government is not listening to them, things keep to deteriorate. Then you notice that if you want to come into the UK to study, you have to make sure that this is mutually beneficial to you and the UK economy. You are surely going to pay your school fees up front, but for home students, there's this deficit that they have when it comes to paying their tuition. They don't always pay straight up. They take student loans, and even based on the tuition they are given, guess what? It's the international students that contribute to that deficit. So it's something that you need to pay attention to, which means be careful when you're choosing a particular course you want to choose. Especially if you feel that you want to study here and stay back, it means that you have to choose a particular course that has this gap that the UK need when it comes to skills. And note that pursuing a master's here does not mean that you automatically get a job, because most employers in the UK are not really interested in your master's. They are interested in your experience. What experience are you coming with? That's what they are interested in. I felt I should share this video so that you can make an informed decision, make calculated risk when you are coming to the UK. Know what you are coming into. Just know the environment you are going into. Just because the media doesn't say anything and everywhere is quiet doesn't mean that nothing is happening in the UK. A lot of things are happening in the UK, and you should make an informed decision whenever you are doing anything. I wish you the best. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.